Welcome to the An Everglow Show. I'm Eric McClanahan. Kylan Savage, who produces this show and is also the host of Church Jams Now and In Defense of Kesha, is joining us. How you doing, Kylan?
Howdy, I'm gonna make it.
All right. Also joining us tonight is Josh Balogh, who is a master list maker and blogger. We'll let him tell you where to find him at the end of the show. How you doing, Josh?
I'm great. I'm also a technology wizard,
Oh, okay,
obviously.
yeah.
So
All right.
really good with
For sure.
computers and microphones.
For sure.
Me too.
That's why I'm here, guys. It's gonna look and sound beautiful.
Wonderful.
Um, so let's see. Uh, Tonight we're going to be covering the self-titled debut Smalltown Poets album. We're also adding a new segment at the end of the show that I guess for now we're just going to call One Good Thing.
One good thing, it works for now.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll be something for people who maybe aren't into the main topic of the episode that you can skip to the end and find that or something. But just kind of wanted to add a little something that's not related to the topic. So we're doing a series right now on my very favorite albums because I'm trying to get my top 100 albums list redone and finalized. So Kylan has been kind enough to listen to all these albums, and AJ's been doing it too, and Josh joining us tonight.
Except tonight because I'm pretty sure I don't know what were AJ's exact words. No, I hate that album. I would never ever in a million years be on an episode about that band. I think that's what I don't remember. I'll have to look at the text.
I don't think that's what he said.
That's what he meant.
If any of the Smalltown Poets guys are listening, that's not what he said.
Nah, AJ would be mortified.
It doesn't sound like something AJ would say.
The album was produced by John Hampton and Dana Key, Michael Johnston on lead vocals and guitars, Danny Stevens on keyboards and vocals, Kevin Bruner on guitars, Miguel De Jesus on bass and vocals, and Byron Goggin on drums.
Wait, was that? Sorry, excuse my ignorance. The producer, is that from DeGarmo and Key? Dana Key?
Dana
okay,
Key.
cool.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't. I think I'm sure he had like a executive producer role, being that this was on Forefront Records and that was their thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like I saw that he did do some of the regular production stuff on it. Cool. So, Kylan, what is your history with Smalltown Poets? I know you had Kevin Bruner on Church Jams Now.
That's right.
Time, right?
That's right. Me and Kev go way back. Go way back. I've always like Smalltown Poets was always a band I was very like aware of, but never like dug into until Church Jams Now. And yeah, it was really cool having Kevin on. We talked about Listen Closely. Which that's a really fun episode if anyone wants to go back and listen to that. Got a lot of history and context from the band. I always, I don't know, it was interesting like listening to this album because I don't think I had listened to it like intentionally all the way through, right? Until this listen. And it was in a lot of ways it was about what I expected, and then a lot of other ways it was also really unexpected, and I had a pretty good time. So
interesting. I've been doing my predictions for you. I'm predicting a 2 for you on this one, the 2.0, because I'm hoping I'm wrong, but maybe not. We'll see.
Right. We'll see.
I just don't think this is exactly your thing.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Now, is this a 2 on a 4 scale, 5 scale?
On 100.
Because you guys
on 100.
2 out of 100. Okay.
It's a 5-star scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Kylan's doing a 5-star scale. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it's
Yep.
totally your thing, but we'll see. Um, Josh, can you give us your history with Smalltown Poets?
Yeah, this was an album that came out in my formative years. I would have been 16 years old at this time, and I first heard the first three tracks at a youth camp, at a summer youth camp, church camp, and the college students that were running the camp were big on playing the songs, and so I thought the college kids who were running the camp were cool. I liked the music. It had some reminiscences of Jars of Clay, self-titled to me,
Mm-hmm.
and which I know Kylan loves or is going to learn how to love at some point.
We'll
Um,
see.
so it just had that really sweet spot of jangly guitars and kind of like that jangle pop that I would come to learn was influenced and started way back. But yeah, so I was 16, found it at a youth camp, heard those first three songs. I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure very soon thereafter I would have gone to the bookstore to get a copy for myself, and I've owned it ever since it came out and been following the band since then.
Nice.
Very cool. I didn't properly do my research. Do y'all know when in 1997 this came out? Because
March.
it doesn't say on Rate Your Music, which is kind of my source for everything. But
I thought I saw like the middle of March somewhere when I was
Okay.
looking earlier today.
Okay. Because I got this album on my birthday, and I was trying to figure out if it would have been my 14th or 15th birthday. But if it came out in March, my birthday is in April, so it was probably my 14th birthday. I
Wikipedia
would
says
think.
March 25th, 1997.
Okay, so I probably got this on my 14th birthday, along with Rebecca St. James's God album and Jeff Moore and the Distance's Threads album, I
Yep.
believe. So that was
That's a good
solid
birthday haul.
birthday. That is a
Yeah.
good birthday haul.
Sure enough.
I had a group of my friends, I think, were like at the family Christian store and called me like, "What CDs do you want for your birthday?" And
Oh, those are
so,
friends right there, man.
yeah, for sure. So Josh, what is your rating scale going to be?
I'm doing the traditional 1 through 5 stars.
Okay, cool. And I am also doing the 5 stars as well as my probably annoying extra breakdown that uses a
It's not annoying.
0.0 to 10.0 system.
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I enjoyed it actually when I heard the episode on Luna Halo. I enjoyed the nuance of why that was there, and it was really actually kind of cool that I think all three of you were using different rating scales, so that was kind of an interesting thing.
I still, if I'm being honest, I don't understand AJ's system. He's explained it a bunch, but I'll ask him again.
It really only kind of makes sense to me is like if you're saying I love the record or I like the record.
Right, well, yeah.
It's just kind of like I don't know. Yeah. I was thinking a four would make sense to me, like a 1 through 4. Loved it, liked it, didn't like it, hated it. That would kind of be.
I think he's doing that, but it's 0 through 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense then.
But I don't think he's used a 0 yet.
Thankfully, even though he does trash talk one of the albums that we've covered so far, but I think he's forgetting that he liked it more than he did. All right, so let's dive into it. Track 1, Prophet, Priest, and King. Josh, go ahead and tell me what you think about this album or this song. Sorry.
5-star song for me. It's a standout on an album full of some great songs. I do like that bass line. Favorite. I'm gonna try to do a brief favorite lyric from each of them as much of a lyric listener.
Love it.
So favorite lyric is, "But my closet's a shrine to an old friend of mine. Here I talk all the time with the prophet priest. I'll pull out boxes and brooms. I gush like a groom, for it's here I commune with the prophet, priest, and king." Just gave me some very another Georgia band, The Waiting. It gave me some vibes of like The Waiting's lyricism. I wondered if they like knew each other enough to like influence each other. I thought that was kind of a cool way to say what he was saying there. So yeah, it's a great song. I was running a poll today for what people thought was the best song from the album, and it is like the runaway with like 50% of the votes. This is
Oh,
the
wow.
song that everybody likes from this album the most. It's a great start to the album. Great way to kick it off.
Agreed.
Kylan, what do you
Yeah,
think?
no, I totally agree with that. I love an album that starts out with bass. Yeah, I love the sweet, sweet bass. Yeah, and uh, musically, this was yeah, it was really interesting to me. It definitely has a very sort of specific like '90s, uh, acoustic led pop rock feel. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory manner. Like I love that. Very like Hootie and the Blowfish. Bare Naked Ladies is one of my favorite bands, and I was reminded of them uh, more than a couple times on this album. Lyrically, I thought this was really fun, and I kind of wanted a little more stuff like this throughout the record. Because it's like I don't know, the way I put it was like a very, it's a very 90s sensibility. It's like a very like post Bob Dylan, almost nonsensical, but it's like it's just like you're kind of saying things that in the moment makes sense, and then you start thinking about it and you're like, I don't think that makes sense, but then you're like, well, you know what, it could make sense. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's a little vague but also really specific. um and yeah, incredibly I enjoyed this an incredible amount. I put a 4 out of 5.
Nice. So I teased a little bit that I have a bit of a take on this album that people will probably disagree with.
Oh
This is
boy, here it
On the
comes.
first song, that's where.
Here it
Oh man,
comes.
okay, here
Oh
we go.
wow.
this is my second least favorite song on the album.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Why?
Uh it's it's very like bass heavy for a song that I continue or a band that I like more for like the guitars and stuff, I think. And the bass playing is great and I like it, but I don't like it as like the focused instrument of a lot of a song like
Right.
on like this, at least from this genre. And it's the song's a little bit quirky, I think, like compared
Quirky.
to
Yeah.
yeah,
So
compared to a lot of the
exactly
stuff.
the opposite of what I wanted from
Yes,
the record.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. But it's a really good song. It's a 4 star for me still. It's a 8.9. Um,
Okay.
it's just not the vibe that I like from this band on this album or on Listen Closely or um, third verses or I just I just like for the guitar to be the main like
All right.
instrument of their songs. So
Is
Okay.
part of it too that this is just like the runaway favorite from most people that listen to this? Is like, is there a little bit of contrarian in you, or is that just Chase since I talk to him a lot?
I
It's like
don't
that.
think so. That is a thing that I can do if I'm not being incredibly honest with myself at the time. But I've kind of always felt that way about this song. It's
Okay.
um like I said, it's good. And I'm glad it's the first song because I feel like it maybe would have interrupted the flow for me being somewhere else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. If it would have made more sense to you, or it would have been better on the B side where they might want to experiment with other stuff. But
Maybe if it were like near the end, but I think I like it where it's at, especially since it was the lead single. If it wasn't the lead single and it was the first track, then it would maybe
it
not
does feel kind
hit
of like
for
the
me.
song, like you're crafting to be the lead single that you want to
Right.
grab people's attention with.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, it's a pretty unique song. There weren't a lot of bands doing that exact, formula, I think.
right.
Um, but let's move on to track 2, If You'll Let Me Love You. Kylan,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on this one?
What do you think my thoughts on this one are?
I think it's probably not. I think you probably don't love it.
Oh,
It's
my first note is, dang, this song is so good.
Wow.
okay.
Yeah, no, the acoustic guitar, like, I also got a lot of like Counting Crows vibes through a lot of this.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I can get down on this specific kind of like pop rock. Like
Okay.
feels really like old school rock and roll influence. You know, I feel like we've brought up multiple times like That Thing You Do, like that sort of
Mm.
like we're taking this old you know, this older style of music, but then we're putting this sort of like modern uh pop sensibility on it. I like it a lot. You know what I really love is the live drums. The live drums make this record in ways that if some other records that shall not be mentioned maybe had live drums like this, would have landed a little bit better. Uh,
Which album is that, Colin?
Don't
uh,
say it.
I'm not gonna say it.
Okay, okay.
If I don't know, that'll be a fun treat for potential new listeners who somehow get sucked into the CCM Twitter world to find that opinion of mine. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I've apparently I've misinterpreted your taste, I think.
Well, here's the deal. You can't. I'm a chaos goblin, man.
Yeah.
You
pin
can't nail
it
it down,
down.
man.
You can't pin it
Okay.
down.
All right. Josh, what do you think about this song?
Yeah, no, Kylan's right. I love that you can trace the sounds to it all the way back to the Beatles and the Birds, and then the more modern influences of like Toad the Wet Sprocket and then Gin Blossoms and Crowded
Yeah.
House, even some early Sixpence on the Richer before, like kind of before they hit it big with Kiss Me in '97. It's got some influences from there too. Just that jangle pop, that guitar line's so crisp, and it makes me happy just to hear it. I rate it 5 stars.
Nice.
This first half of the record, just spoiler alert, I think is pretty good. Favorite lyric is when there's nothing left to say, love has a voice, in sorrow and in heartache there's a greater joy. Just kind of a different take on 1 Corinthians 13. But also I think lyrics throughout the whole album that are not so so in your face that you couldn't enjoy them if you didn't share the worldview that they're coming from with them. So I like that about how they do their lyrics. But yeah, that guitar line is just really cool. It's good.
One thing that I noticed about this album as I was taking notes and things is that a lot of songs, the verses, like melodies, are just as good or better than the chorus melodies, which
Yeah.
I think for an album like this is kind of necessary to stand above, the pack of bands that were making music like this at the time.
Yeah, I think they really they benefited from this. Not technically, this is their debut, right? But they were under a different name and had music and had been together as a band playing for years before they released this. So they have really honed in on what they want their sound to be for this album, and they're really tight with what they're playing, and they're all great on their instruments. So
yeah, they really are.
That Villanelle was
there it is.
Smalltown Poets before Smalltown Poets.
Pre Smalltown.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, If You Let Me Love You is a 5-star, 9.7, which is a solid 5 stars.
Nice.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I really like the chorus melodies, and the Gin Blossoms kind of rock sound like feels so timeless to me, and like I feel like Gin Blossoms was probably a big influence on them, and
for sure.
And both bands are kind of
like
now.
This song reminds me a lot. I know I've brought this up so much on the show, but I love a song that feels like it could be the opening credits song for a 90s or 2000s teen movie.
Right.
And this has that vibe.
Yeah,
like musically, it's got that. I love it.
It would have been nice if they had gotten on some of those soundtracks, like, Jars of Clay and Plum were on the Drive Me Crazy soundtrack, and some others made some appearance. I would have liked to seen Smalltown Poets get some of that love.
Yeah, I forget when 10 Things I Hate About You came out. I think it was like 98 or 99, but this would have been a great song for that soundtrack.
Yeah,
for sure.
I believe that was 99, I think. Yeah. All right, track 3, Everything I Hate. Josh, how do you feel about the song?
5-star song for me. It's going to sound boring for me to say the same thing, but I
I'm
promise
with
I
you.
will. I
I'm
will
with you.
vary up my opinions occasionally here. My high school mind was blown when I realized they were drawing from Romans 7 with this song. Like it took me a little while to catch on to that, but
Mhm.
I like how they did that, and then I like musically how they drop out towards the end so they can build the dynamic back up, where they just
Yes.
kind of drop down a little bit. It really helps emphasize the message and the meaning of the lyrics because you kind of hone in on what they're saying at that point. And favorite lyric is, "Oh, I'm into everything I hate. My spirit is not fooled. My members take the bait. Oh, I'm into everything I hate." And then specifically this line, "Still not dead enough to stifle this debate." Um, it's the chorus, and it's a great lyric for a reason. So
Yeah.
that's another good one.
Very
Great one,
good.
even.
Yeah. For me, like I first heard the song on this $1.99.
Yeah, I love that one.
Simply, what is it? Simply
Fabulous.
Fabulous. Yeah. This was like my first sampler CD, and I wore it out. It was like I was really new to contemporary Christian music, and I was hearing all the four hymns and things and liking all that. But this one kind of opened me up to, Supertones are on here, and The Waiting and Grandma Train and stuff that's a little more alternative. And this song, like it was not as heavy as like Smashing Pumpkins and things at the time, but it sounded pretty heavy to me at the time. Pretty, you know, uh,
Well, it's real
angsty
just
and
like
yeah,
swagger rock and roll with that production too. Like,
yeah. Good point.
yeah.
Go ahead and tell me what all you think about it, Kylan.
Um, okay, this is tied for my favorite song on the record.
Oh,
Nice.
hey.
I wrote, uh, what was my first note? Electric guitar. Uh, yeah, it's just like real, like sort of like not classic rock is like classic rock the genre, but it feels really like classic sort of rock and roll. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun. And then they do
Mhm.
this really cool shift of like having that like minor pentatonic thing going on in the verses, and then opening it up to like a major sound in the choruses.
Mhm.
Uh, Really like keeping the energy up. I think especially as like a track three on this album, I think it's in a perfect place. I like the sentiment of the lyrics too. Um, and what one thing that is gonna I'll talk about later on in the record is he kind of has like two registers that he really like sings in, and I love this one here. I love
Mhm.
the uh, almost more sort of like rock and roll kind of thing. So I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a 5 star for me. 9.7. Like I said, it's just kind of at the time for me, it just sounded like just a really good alt rock song, and it still sounds to me like a really good alt rock song.
Yeah.
Um, Good chorus melodies. Like I mentioned, the guitars at the beginning sounded pretty heavy to me at the time.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, let's go to track four. I'll give. Kylan, what do you think about this one?
Well, the run was short-lived, y'all. um, okay. Uh, the two positive things I'll say. I love the guitar effects. I love that they've been like pretty straightforward rock, and then with just like a little bit of distortion and gain on the electric guitars. This one they start adding some like weird guitar effects and like phaser and things. And the band is like we talked about a little bit ago, like they're just super locked in. Like they sound so tight. Um I just purely personal preference though. I just don't vibe with this kind of song. And he's doing his, like I said on the last song, he's got his two registers. This one he does is sort of like higher, like he's reaching sort of the top of his register. And he does that a lot through kind of the middle of the record. And I just don't vibe with it. I can't, it's just not my thing, man. This feels too slow, a little too church camp worshipy. So I gave it a 2.5 out of 5.
Okay. All right, Josh.
Broken record, Josh here. 5-star song for me. I do like the fact that he goes into his higher register almost to the point of straining where it doesn't quite sound like as pristine or as perfect as it could, but I think that
Yeah.
fits the message and the lyric of the song, which lyrically I like. My love is a lot like me, wanting nothing less than everything, but I know you're the only one's love that's true, and only giving makes me close to you. Um, I find that pretty. It's simple, but also profound as well. If you spend time thinking about that and um, how that works, kind of the opposite, upside down, what we think of what love is. I like that the song just before it, Everything I Hate, sets this song up pretty well.
Mm.
And I like the change of pace. It is a little slower, but I like that they do that kind of, and then finish this A side here with two more upbeat songs. So another 5-star song for me.
Cool. Um, I kind of came from the I had just like gotten into rock from coming from Southern gospel and R&B, and I like the slow jams, and I was like, oh cool, rock bands do this too. So, I dug it. At the time, probably would have been in my top 100 favorite songs, and yes, I did make lists like that when I was 14. Um, but yeah, it over time it's not kind of held up as well as like some of the other ballads of the time for me, like Tea and Sympathy from Jars of Clay, and but it's still 5 stars, 9.7 for me. I still think it's really lovely, pleasant.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Sweet.
let's go to track 5, Anymore. All right, Josh, what do you think about this one?
I love the chugging riff that's there.
Mhm.
It's that doom, 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 doom. I didn't pick out a favorite lyric from this, but I still think it's a great song. And the vocals matching again with what they're going for there. Another 5-star song for me. Don't have a whole lot else to say about it other than that.
All right, Kylan.
I like it more than the last song. I also love the chugging riff, and this is
Yeah.
this is one of the few instances I think is high register works for this. It definitely it's got that sort of like Wheatus kind of thing
Mhm.
going on for me. Like they start out kind of chuggy and then do these like nice little like twinkly like arpeggio uh lead guitar lines. Um I yeah, I think I finished my last note was this song is okay. Not my favorite. I like it a lot more than the last one. I gave it a 3. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
All right. Um, I couldn't believe that my like local adult contemporary radio station played this. This must have been like the heaviest song they ever played on that channel.
That's funny.
That's like they're really playing a song with chugging guitars between like Twyla Paris and Wayne Watson. Um, so I mean,
Must
just
have had
hearing
a
the song in that
yeah.
context was like, yeah, this is great.
Must have had a
So,
DJ that was a fan or something.
must have, yeah. I mean, they did play like some Newsboys and stuff, but not like the heavier stuff. This one, I don't think I ever heard anything with like a chuggy guitar riff outside of this one on there. So yeah, sounded pretty edgy to me, and
Yeah.
I still think it's a pretty great song. 5 stars, 9.7 for me. Um, let's go on to
Wait,
track
hey,
6.
hey, Eric,
Yes.
you're all 5 stars at this point, right?
No, it's all five
Oh,
stars
that's
except
right.
for
Except
Prophet,
for
Priest,
Prophet
and
Priest and King.
King.
That is such a hot take.
I'm
I gotta
I'm
call
all
that
five
out
stars
again.
up to this point.
Josh,
And
yeah, you're all 5.
Yeah.
And Eric
Um,
coming in hot with
yeah.
Prophet, Priest, and King is a bad song. Man.
It's a 4-star song. It's a
I
good
know, I'm
song.
teasing you. I know. All right, sorry.
uh, track 6, Who You Are. Um, Kylan, what are your thoughts on this one?
I like that this is more high energy. The guitar's like a little bit. I know I'm gonna take over AJ's spot for a second. It's very reminiscent of like Britpop. Maybe there's a
There you
little
go.
bit of Blur in there.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do it. If he's not
Right.
here, someone's got to
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, okay. So this for me, was a 3 out of 5 until like the bridge kind of solo area when they
Mhm.
started doing the crazy like reverse guitar stuff. Hold on,
Yeah.
play that real quick. And then with like the weird like the spoken vocal in the back.
Mhm.
Uh that's just so weird and wild. I love it. So it bumped it up
It's
to a 3.5 for me.
Okay,
it's nice. Yeah,
cool.
they give you a little ear candy there, don't they?
For sure. For sure.
Josh, go ahead. What do you think?
This is the first song I'm giving 4.5 stars,
Okay.
and I have a note in here that says "sweet, sweet bass." Right, Kylan? I mean, I like the bass guitar there in this one.
100%.
Um, I don't know what it just doesn't feel like a 5-star song like the rest of them to me. And I know this kind of ends the A side, so it was a near flawless A side for me. It just missed. Um, favorite lyric: "When the heavens wink on a midnight clear, takes me back 30 years." Just kind of one of those nostalgic kind of lyrics that I tend
But
to
I was really
like.
curious about that because I hooked into that too, and I was like, "What was he 30? Was he over 30 when they did this?"
I wouldn't
I
think
think
so.
this is
I
more
don't think
coming from a
so.
perspective of like a shepherd on because of
Right.
the
Yeah, yeah, that's
chorus. I
what I
don't think he's
thought.
talking.
I
I don't think
know.
this is a first person lyric. I think this is a
Yeah, I know.
he's putting himself in the.
I just got hung up. I got hung up on the like, hold on. I don't think he was 30.
He wasn't 30 yet. No way he could have been.
No.
No.
Um,
Yeah, but yeah, it's for sure from like a third person perspective.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's another one where I was, just surprised that the verse melody is so good as
Hmm.
along with the chorus. Um,
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like their melodies, they are real like songwriting master classes
yeah.
because like so like when I went to school for music, like one of the hardest exercises was basically kind of doing that. They were like, okay, write the catchiest hook you can think of. And so we'd write that, we'd spend a week writing that and then present it to the class. And they're like, that's great. Now that's your verse. Now you have to write an even catchier one for your chorus.
Right.
I was like, I got so emotionally invested and did like this is the song, and then they surprised us. They're
Yeah.
like, okay, no, you got to write something better now. Yeah,
That's always so impressive to me. I don't like I notice that even when I'm listening to music now, that's one of the things that I'm like, that'll bump you up at least half a star
yeah,
if you can make the verse melody just as good as the chorus melody.
yep.
Um, but yeah, just a solid alternative song. 5 stars, 9.7. Again, lots of 9.7s here.
Nice.
So let's go to track 7 scenario. Josh, what do you think about this one?
I thought it was a great way to kick off the A side. Good pacing on the song. I love the lead line from the guitar. The drums are popping as they are on most of this album. It's one of the favorite things that I like about it. More tasty jangle guitar. I really like the breakdown that happens at about 150 in the track time. It leads into the guitar solo, which I think is
Yeah,
sublime.
yeah,
Mhm.
So,
for
favorite
sure.
lyric is "My faults do run deep, your mercies do run deeper."
Very cool. What score did you give this one?
4.5.
4.5. All right. Kylan?
Yeah, I like this song. I think it. I don't know this album really the middle of it for me is just kind of losing me a little bit. Like I think I would have enjoyed this song a lot more if it was higher up on the track list. Um, because we've already had a couple songs that are pretty similar stylistically and I would say like tempo wise. So it didn't hook me in the way that those other ones did. So I gave this one a 3 out of 5.
Okay. In relation to that, this was a slower grower for me. It has become one of like my favorites on the album, I think. 5 star, 9.7. Love the guitar solo. I like there's like a synth or distorted guitar or something that comes in like during the chorus that's
Mhm.
not there in the verses that catches my ear that I really enjoy. and this is one of the few songs on this album that wasn't released as a single to like any format. I think almost
Right.
like most of the songs were. So, um, but I think it's a pretty great album track. Another 5 star, 9.7 for me.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah,
All
the
right.
Wikipedia says
But
that they had 6 top 20 singles and 2 of them were number ones. So
wow.
Wow.
that sounds right. There was a lot of singles from it.
Yeah. I I kind of miss like back when, you couldn't just hear a whole album then and maybe you're unsure if you want to buy it or not after the first couple singles and then they just keep coming. By the time they've released 4 or 5 singles, it's like, okay, I I need this. But
Yeah.
it's not the same though when bands release like 4 or 5 singles on Spotify and you
Right.
hear it once or something. I don't know why,
Yeah.
what the difference is there, but it's just not the same. Let's go to track 8. There's a day. Can't remember who went first last time. Um, Kylan, go ahead.
I love this guitar line.
Okay.
This is also real like 90s like alt rock, like
Yeah.
a little less fuzzy, Smashing Pumpkins kind of thing. Yeah, I love his low voice so much more than his high voice.
Mhm.
Um, one thing we haven't talked about yet is their harmonies are so good. Like they're
Yeah.
so tight with those harmonies, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like his rock and roll voice more than his high voice. This was going to be a 3.5, but then the wee part in the bridge bumped it down to a 3 for me. So it's a 3 out of 5.
Oh,
It was
I
too
like
long.
that.
It was too
Okay.
long. It was too long. And something, the way it scratched my brain, I was like, no, thank you. But it only bumped it down half a point. So 3 out of
Okay.
5.
All right. Josh.
wow. This is my least favorite song on the album. 4 stars for me. Still a good song. Just
Yeah.
the one that I return to least. I thought I heard a little bit of Nirvana influence towards the
Yeah.
beginning. Some kind of grunge, a little grunge
Yeah.
there. The reason why I don't like it, I think, is because the verses, the melodies of the verses or the music of the verses is really good, and then I think the chorus is weak
Hmm.
or it's weaker, and so
Yeah.
it kind of, I don't know if they would have been able to flip it. And then lyrically, it just gets repetitive. It feels like it needed more lyrics or something else for them to say, other than
Yeah.
just repeating what they'd already said. Um, also wrote that I wish that this was switched in the track order with Monkey's Paw. Like I wish Monkey's Paw came before this one, and then this one came
Mm,
a little bit lower in the track list.
I could dig that.
Favorite lyric though was "Dusk ushers out the light of day. Assemble to be sure that my life can't forever stay." Just a flipping of how you would normally say that phrase, but
Right.
just a reminder of our short lifespan here on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. This is also my least favorite on the album. 4 stars, 8.7. It's like you said, I mean, the chorus is weak on an album that does not have many weak melodies anywhere for the
Yeah,
chorus to be kind of,
Right.
like you said, kind of repetitive and it's just missing something. Um,
yeah. I
but I
think that's
do,
why they sequenced it where they did. Probably, maybe, I
yeah.
don't know.
On an album where almost every song is 5 stars for me, like I kind of wish it wasn't on the album. On
Yeah,
most albums, this would be a solid album track, but the rest of it's just so good that this one I feel like is a noticeable dip.
yeah.
Yeah.
The quality of the others just kind of makes this one pale a little
Yeah,
bit.
Hmm.
exactly. But I do like the siren thing. Um,
Yeah. It's too much. It's too much for me.
okay. Um, so 4 stars, 8.7 for me. Let's go to track 9, Monkey's Paw. Josh, what do you think about this one?
This one rocks.
Yeah.
This is the one that was getting the most write-in votes on the Twitter poll that I did for people saying this was their favorite song from the album. The extended guitar solo is sweet. I like that solo. Um, I like the message of the song. I kind of wish they'd either like I said, moved this one up in the track order or kicked off the B side with this. I kind of understand why they have it where they have it because of the songs that are there, but I think it would have been a really solid start to the second half of the record. Favorite lyric: I held the monkey's paw today and put my wishes into play. Thanked heaven for the trophies, but I still had hell to pay. So I brought my spoils to the altar's edge. I heard you say, obey instead. And it was today, as I was looking it up, that I learned for the first time that this is based off of a short story called The Monkey's Paw by W. Jacobs.
Okay.
So I just took the message to mean, like, it made a little bit more sense to me, the message kind of meaning how we can serve Christ from the wrong motives, looking to get spoils or riches or do things in our own will rather than following his will. And we see that, that form of godliness, but without power in a lot of, not all, in a lot of celebrity pastors and situations like that. So this is just kind of calling that out, that sometimes we have these wishes for things that we want, or we serve for the wrong motivation. We get them and we realize it's not all it's cracked up to be, when all God wanted was actual obedience from us. So I like the message there and the way that it's delivered.
Yeah, it's pretty creative lyrically.
Mhm.
Kylan, what do you think about this one?
This song rules, dude. It's so rad. I can't believe it's this far down in the track list. I like it.
Seriously.
It's a really, like, the verse chords are really simple because they mostly focus on that on like a two chord change. Um, but then they just like rock out with it. I love the guitar solo. It's like a just a down and dirty, plain and simple, like rock and roll guitar solo. Like it's not the fanciest guitar solo in the world, nor does it need to be. It fits perfectly with this song.
Mhm.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed this. This is the other one that's tied for my favorite at a 4.5 out of 5.
All right. Josh, you can put me down as a write-in for my favorite song on the album too. This is my favorite on the album.
Oh, nice.
5 stars, 9.8, which means it is in my top 250 favorite songs of all time. Just a incredible rock song. I think everything hits on it. Uh, I don't. There are so many songs like this. I'm like, why was this not pushed to mainstream radio? This
Right. Yeah. No,
could
it's
have
totally got
been
that vibe
a
for
rock
sure.
hit in
For sure.
in that day. Um, I there's really no flaws with it. The I put that the part from 212 to 240 is probably my favorite section on the whole album, um, where he just gets kind of intense vocally, I think, and yeah, it's just love the song.
Yeah.
Um, track 10, Trust. Kylan, what do you think about this one?
You're losing me again. You're losing me again.
You don't like the slow jams?
I don't. I just don't. I just don't. Um,
I don't know, man. I got to call you out a little bit here because on the Luna Halo, you're saying too much mid tempo. Now you're saying you don't like the slow ones. Which
yeah,
one is it?
I just want fast songs. My brain
Is
moves
that
so
it?
fast. I only want,
Okay,
yeah, I want every album to be a punk album.
I
Let's
see.
have minute and a half long songs, 23 minutes, 18 tracks. Like,
It's a miracle Kylan hasn't hated every album that I've
well,
presented.
you know what? This miracle is a testament to our friendship because
Okay.
I try to, honestly engage with the material every
Okay. Well,
time.
good. I
This
appreciate that.
song, I have no idea what it's talking about because I texted Eric this earlier. So I don't look up the lyrics beyond Spotify usually. Um, but the Spotify lyrics, just a heads up for everybody, the Spotify lyrics for Trust by Smalltown Poets somehow seem to have been replaced with a completely different song that is very inappropriate, which is a really fun experience for me. I won't say much more about it, but I think I am actually gonna reach out to Kevin from Smalltown Poets and just give him a heads up, because I don't I don't think Smalltown Poets have ever sang the lyric "Fools carry heat like sunshine." So yeah,
That
man.
doesn't sound like something I've heard from them.
No, it doesn't,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I don't know, man. The slow acoustic, like worshipy kind of stuff just doesn't land with me. This is another 2.5.
Okay. Josh?
I wish that this had been a closer. I really wish they'd close the album with this one. I think it's a great song. The meaning of it, it means a lot to me. I even think that it sounds. I kind of picture like somebody going in a prison ministry to those that are in prison and just kind of offering an invitation. And I really like the lyric. There was a hunger in his hollow hesitation. Like that just kind of stopped me in my tracks as I was looking at it again today. It struck me as very profound. How we hesitate sometimes to answer the call that Christ is giving to love us. We're hungry for it, and yet we still resist. And so I was just kind of picturing like a prison ministry where the message is going out and the guy has an opportunity to respond and he just can't quite do it. So it's kind of heartbreaking in some respects to me. But anyway, that could be totally me making up a story that isn't there, but that's kind of what I was picturing as I was reading over it and listening to it. 5-star song for me.
5 stars. Yeah, it's also a 5-star song for me. 9.7. Gives me Much Afraid vibes, which y'all know I love that album.
Uh-oh.
Makes me nervous for
Uh-oh.
Kylan.
Uh-oh.
But just the end, like just the last couple tracks on Much
Okay.
Afraid.
Okay.
Him.
Yeah, him is what
yeah.
it sounds most like to me.
Yeah. It's cool. Like, I think talking about communion and things would have been a cool communion song for an edgy church at the time, which mine was definitely not. Really good chorus. I like the inclusion of the "Come Every Soul" hymn in the bridge.
Yeah, was an accordion in there? Did I hear that, or what instrument was that?
Yeah, that was an accordion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did like the accordion.
Yeah.
That's what gave it the extra 0.5 for me.
Sweet accordion.
It's a new thing.
I'm gonna add a sound effect like I do with the sweet bass on church hymns now, but it's just a guy with a
little squeeze box action.
Yeah.
I want to add some sound effects, Colin. You'll have to help me figure out how to do that.
Let's figure it out.
All right, so let's go to the final track, Inside the Bubble. Josh, how do you feel about this one?
I just thought it was an interesting way to end the album, like kind of more upbeat. I did not know the word gossamer, and it had never struck me to look it up before. So this was fun for me as a word nerd to look it up and figure out that it means something very light, thin, and insubstantial or delicate.
Yeah.
So
like spider webs.
Like a spider web, yeah, which makes sense in the context of the song. Favorite lyric was, "Look at me with a childlike eye and understand who's bound. Why are those who are on the ground afraid of falling down?" Which I think could potentially be read as condescending, but I don't hear it that way, and I don't think it's intended that way. It's more like an invitation to view the position of this person that's floating or flying with faith like a child, maybe even some allusions to Peter Pan. There. So 4.5 stars for me. I think it would have worked better setting up Trust if they'd been flipped and Trust had been the last one. And then I almost would have moved There's a Day just before Inside the Bubble and then close with Trust and move Monkey's Paw up. But these are small quibbles, really, like just small quibbles.
I can dig that.
Okay. Kylan?
Well, one, this song is too long. But I'm a lot more lenient. I was having this conversation with my wife today. I'm a lot more lenient with long tracks if they're the last track on an album. Like, that's one of the few scenarios in which I'll let you get away with it.
At least you're near the end, right? So you don't have to. There's no more.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh no, I don't need like 3 7-minute songs right in the middle of the album, and then I still have 20 minutes left. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this is the end. I can rally. I got this. I like this song a decent amount. This to me feels the most because okay, so track one, we talked about lyrically. I think Eric, you used the word quirky,
Yeah.
which I really enjoyed. It did almost feel like a sort of bait and switch, right, between that first album and the rest of the or the first track and the rest of the album.
Mhm.
Um, this song to me feels sort of the most in line with like what that first track was sort of setting up expectations for. Like
Yeah.
I could see this like if they did have an album of more sort of that like vague flowery lyricism this seems to fit really well. I like it musically too. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5.
Cool. This is another one that's grown with me over time. It's probably wouldn't have been a 5 star for me at the time, but it is now a 5 star, 9.7. Um, I really like the harmonizing in it, which Kylan, you referenced earlier.
Yeah.
I did have a note about it finally on the last track. Um, I like the na na nas.
Hmm.
I know Kylan, that's not typically something you like, right?
Sometimes I do, guys. I
Okay.
like I you can't pin me down, okay?
No,
You don't know me. You
I
don't know
don't
what I like.
know. But yeah, I feel like it worked really well on this song, and
Yeah,
especially with all the harmonies and kind of building. I think the whole song kind of feels like the lyric "We can swim across the sky." Like the whole song kind of gives me the vibe of going with that,
yeah.
and
There's like a
that's
lot of
really
space in the production.
yeah,
It feels really airy.
yeah. Which is the kind of thing that I've come to like the most as I've gotten older. So it makes sense why
For
this
sure.
has become more appreciated by me over time. Um, do you all have any thoughts on the hidden track?
Oh,
It's unnecessary. I wish it wasn't there.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like the Jars of Clay hidden track that goes on forever and then
so
surprises you with a
many
burst of a
hidden
song and
tracks.
then
Yeah.
I was going
didn't
to
need
ask
it.
you. I was like, do I want to ask Joshua what he thinks about the Jars of Clay one?
Don't like it.
Don't like it.
Good. You and I agree, finally.
Yeah,
Count that one.
hidden tracks were cool for like the first time you played the album. After that,
Right.
it's like, okay, we don't need this anymore.
Yep,
There
exactly.
sh-
Um,
it should have been like an option to delete it or it would
yeah,
self-destruct after the first
Yeah.
time you heard it so that you're like,
right.
oh, that's funny. Okay, don't ever have to hear it again.
Yep.
Or like some started doing where it was the before the album start, you could rewind
The
and hear
pre-gap
it.
track. Yeah.
Pre-gap track.
All
You
the cool
didn't have
kids
to hear it.
did the pre-gap track after the hidden track.
Yeah. Yeah. So it should have been more use of that, I think.
Yep.
Josh, go ahead and give me your final rating and any other kind of closing thoughts you might have.
Yeah, averaging up my scores, it's a 477. So I would bump that to a slightly flawed 5 star album for me.
Nice.
Um, Overall, it's right in that sweet spot for me of alt rock that I love from the 90s. That is like 1997 to 2002. That's my jam. I think this is one of the best in Christian music for sure, but I think it holds its own and would be in the conversation for mainstream as well. Um, Love Michael Johnson's voice throughout. I like that he can sing the higher stuff and strain a little bit, but also the lower register that he utilizes. Currently, this album charts as my number 9 favorite album of 90 CCM, and then
Wow.
it's number 39 on my favorite albums of all time in all genres.
39, you said?
39 that includes, like I said, all genres. So that's mainstream mixed in there as well.
Okay. Very
Wow.
cool. Kylan, I think I was wrong on my 2 star prediction.
Yeah, what did this end up being? Probably a 3 star is what I think I would like half of it or like a third of it I really loved. And I would say probably half. I love the high energy stuff. It was the slow jams that just killed it for me.
Yeah.
But I think it then does average out to probably about a 3 out of 5. Um, but I did the parts that I enjoyed. I really, really, really enjoyed. I've gotten a couple songs stuck in my head throughout the week. So
Nice.
Yeah. I'm glad I listened to this.
So as I do, I've got to tell you where this would fit in
Oh yeah.
your 3-star would put it on the same level as Evans Blue as your least favorite of our series so
Oh,
far.
this is way better than Evans. I think Evans Blue. I think by the end of this, Evans Blue is going to be a 2 out of
Okay.
5. I think this.
Okay.
I just
Retroactive.
I just yeah.
I'll put 2 in parentheses.
Yeah, I
So
think it might. I think, well, because we started with that, right?
yeah.
And now I've gotten more context, and the
Okay.
more context I get, the more I feel like I'm able to, see where all these like fit together.
Right. Okay. And you've got Luna Halo as a 3.5-star. Would you have Luna Halo ahead of this? Or is that too far away that you wouldn't have
You know
remembered
what?
probably?
Maybe I would put this at a 3.5 then, because I see
Okay.
these kind of although I feel like I was more favorable to this than I was Luna Halo.
Luna Halo, you sounded like you sorry, you liked a lot of it, but too much of it was mid tempo for you.
Yeah,
So
I think there's kind of a similar problem with this. So yeah, let's put them both at a 3.5 for now.
Okay. All right.
Okay, how much does it stress y'all out that my system is purely vibes based? That
It
it
doesn't bother
changes.
me as long as I can check you on it at the end, like
Okay,
I've
all
been
right,
doing.
cool. All right, cool.
um, so for me, it's such a borderline 5. When I average out the scores today, it comes to what would be a 4.5-star. Tomorrow, maybe that would be a 5-star. I don't, but I got to put it as a 4.5-star right now. It's so close to being a 5, but I think just man, there's a day kind of kills it from being a 5-star. I think,
All right.
unfortunately,
yeah,
but
that's why I call it a flawed 5 because I think I
yeah,
reviewed this for Jesus Freak Hideout and gave it a 4.5 because they usually want us to be pretty stringent about 5-star ratings. So I try to respect that, and I tend to be a little bit more uh, willing to give a 5-star than some of the reviewers because
right,
there's a lot of music out there, and there's probably more 5-stars than what they are letting on, but we can't
yeah,
listen to all of it. So
Right.
true. Okay, so yeah, 4.5 for me, barely. Um, so let's do our new segment. One good thing, we'll call it.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you wanna run down with Josh what this is gonna be?
I texted him about it earlier. Just
Okay.
Josh, we're just gonna talk about kind of one good thing from the week that's has moved you or fascinated you or something. It could be entertainment based or can be just life in general, whatever. What's something that's kind of been a good thing for you this week?
you want me to go ahead and answer?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Um, yeah, I was thinking about this a little bit earlier, trying to think which one to share. Maybe cheating a little bit because it wasn't from this week, but and this is going to sound really simple, but I just wanted it to be encouraging to maybe anyone else who isn't handy with fixing things or doing the honeydew list that happens to be out there. But I'm not able to fix things. I'm afraid to take it apart and not be able to get it back together. So a lot of times I don't try, and
I
sometimes
feel that.
I make it so bad that then you have to call somebody else, and that's annoying and discouraging and defeating. But something as simple as like figuring out how to get the brake light cover off the back of my van and get the bulb in it during my lunch break in less than 15 minutes because that's probably a Josh Balogh record for something simple, just replacing a bulb. But I can make it
Dude.
complicated and get in my head about it. So I did it, and I was proud of myself. I was sweating by the end of it, but I
Yeah,
did it during my lunch break. It got done. It just it was a good thing for me, and I just wanted to be maybe an encouragement to somebody else that doesn't feel like they could try or that they should give an effort or that they feel terrible about not being able to fix things. We can't all be good at everything. I'm not great and handy with stuff, but I did that thing. So I thought that was cool and I was celebrating that. So that's my one good thing.
Dude, that's awesome. I
I
love
love
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because
great way
Simple.
to break
yeah.
in the segment.
No, for
We'll,
sure.
we'll never live up to that.
Yeah. I know, I know. Now mine's gonna seem dumb because I'm like,
Yeah.
the new Bruce Springsteen documentary is really good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're I think it's on Hulu and Disney Plus. It's called Road Diary, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. It is directed by Tom Zinni, who did a couple other Springsteen docs, and he did the Beach Boys documentary that came out recently. Really good. I'm a big Springsteen guy too, so it was really cool. It's just kind of showing the process of the band, like post-pandemic, kind of coming back and figuring out their songs and going on the road. It's like a good mix between like documentary and concert film. Um, yeah, highly recommend for any Springsteen fan. And if you're not a Springsteen fan, I can almost guarantee you will be just by watching this because it's just so much fun. It's just,
What's is that on a streaming service?
I think it's on Hulu and
On Hulu?
Disney Plus. I think it's on
Okay.
both of those. Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. For me, I got to see Sixpence None the Richer this week for the first time in probably 25 years, maybe. I don't even hardly remember anything about the first time I saw him so long ago,
Yeah.
but it was a very like pretty intimate venue. It maybe held, 250, 300 people, and it was sold out, and
That's awesome.
the crowd was great. The band was great. Just very impressive musicians in every aspect. Steve Hennalong from the choir played with them. He played all kinds of different percussion instruments. That's maybe the most percussion instruments I've seen on a stage, especially not outside of a big arena show or something. And they played 5 songs from my favorite album, Divine Discontent, which we will be covering at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
You need to hear
I-
another Sixpence song, Kylan, if you haven't.
I do. No, I
So
know. Well, I've been saving it for if we cover it on here or Church Hymns Now or whatever. So I've been.
We I was talking, my buddy who went with me, his favorite album is Divine Discontent. Adrian Mathenia, who y'all may know from X and elsewhere online, he was at the show and I got to hang out with him. Divine Discontent is his favorite. So I have hopes. I have high hopes, Kylan, that you'll enjoy that one.
I think I will, based on whatever, how much everyone yelled at me about how I felt about the first one.
I don't love the self-titled album.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Josh enjoys it quite a bit. Don't you?
I think the
Oh, yeah.
biggest note I got was like, no, just listen to the other ones. There's more than this. So
Yeah, we'll get
my
to
note
that
would
one.
be listen to self-titled again and learn to appreciate it because it's awesome.
I probably will, dude. I've been, so we did Jesus Freak again, right, for our 100th episode of Church Games Now, and we've been considering that, like talking about, especially those like way early episodes. Yeah, we've been talking about maybe potentially revisiting some of those albums.
Especially if you've been listening to a lot of 90s Christian stuff, you might be
exactly.
kind of more in the mode. And if you need a guest, I would absolutely come on and talk about that one with you guys if you're going to redo it. So
all right,
just hit me up.
Will do.
Very cool. Just want to shout out Tim Rogers, who supports us at the WoW tier on Patreon. Anyone else who would like to check out patreon.com/everglow. I post some mini reviews on there, and just kind of let everybody know what episodes are coming up and offer to read any reviews that patrons may have on the albums that we're going to be covering. So if you'd like to check that out, $3 per month is the lowest. So that's I wanted to do $1, but they told me basically that I'm an idiot if I do $1 for the lowest. So I did $3. But yeah, I'll try to make it worth it for you if you'd like to join. Josh, tell people where they can find you online.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. I'm on Twitter for now anyway. I keep threatening to leave, and Facebook. But you can find my like blogs and things where I write about mostly Christian music at Josh Balogh, BALOGH.wordpress.com. Most recent post was me picking out my top 25 Sixpence None the Richer songs as I've been listening through their catalog in preparation for me to see him in concert. And this will actually be the very first time I've ever seen him in concert because I missed him the first time around. So this is a bucket list concert for me.
That's cool.
And the venue, I think, is going to be smaller, like the one that you were at, Eric. So I'll be going to the Tampa show in November. So if there's any fans of the show that are in the area that are going to that show, I'd love to meet you. If you want to, hit me up. I also write reviews for JesusFreakHideout.com. You can find those there. And yeah, love talking about Christian music or music in general. So hit me up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on, Josh.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I don't of the episodes that are released, I don't think we have done this yet, but our the way we end the show is now we just say the Queen's name, Amy Grant. So thanks everybody for watching. Amy Grant.
Grant.